All right, so I'm going to go back and do a little bit more stuff in TextEdit for you, show you a little bit more, talk about a little bit more features. Then go ahead.
What if you were to use the word period?
I'm getting to that. You're ahead of me. You're ahead of me. All right, that's exactly the next thing I'm going to do. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close out a word here. Yes, I can do this all by voice, but I'm just going to do it this way while I'm talking to you, and bring up TextEdit again. Now, why do I use TextEdit all the time? Well, as I already said, it uses less system resources, but it really allows me to focus what I'm doing on iListen and what it produces, rather than somebody looking at all the pretty icons. So that's kind of why I stay away from these other products. iListen will work anywhere. Anywhere. Quark Express, InDesign, Illustrator, iPhoto, the Finder, click on something and start talking. All we're doing is we're mimicking the keyboard. Now, all we're doing, you have no idea how hard programmatically that is. But from your perspective, iListen, and in fact, I recently started using this example. iListen is a blind typist. All right? Imagine you have someone that works for you. She's blind, but she's the best typist in the whole world. So you click the mouse, you put the insertion point where you want, and then you just start talking to her, and she never gets a word wrong. A little hard of hearing, sometimes gets the wrong word, but never misspells the word, right? And she just zooms right through everything, and she's amazing. But she has no clue as to what program she's in or anything like that. That's kind of how iListen operates. It doesn't know it's in Word, it doesn't know it's in TextEdit, it's just typing away. All right, so that's a good thing to remember is, if you start talking and you hold down the Shift key, everything will come out in caps. Just like if I'm typing away and you come over and hold down the Shift key, everything's going to come out in caps.
Will it work in Excel if you want?
Anywhere you can use a keyboard.
Really?
All right?
Yes.
Remember the old Paul Reiser AT&T commercials? So, well, what about at 9 p.m. at night? Is it still 10 cents a minute, right? And he says, what about 10 cents a minute? Don't you understand? Right? That's how this is. Anywhere you use a keyboard. Yes, Photoshop. Click the text tool, click where you want the text to go, start talking. It'll just type it out. Email, yes, email, anywhere, anywhere, right? Mailsmith, Eudora, Entourage, Mail, Power Mail, doesn't matter.
How would you express that you wish to give it a model number where you have a bunch of letters and numbers that don't spell anything?
You would go into spelling mode to do that, and we're getting to that almost next. One more thing, and I'm going to go through that. Okay, so what about when you want it to type punctuation, when you want it to type a word instead of punctuation? Well, that can be problematic in any speech recognition program. iListen handles it pretty good. The hockey player scored the winning goal in the third period. Keep in mind again, if I'm not getting 100% accuracy, you saw that I created this profile right in front of you. It's not well trained, but it's getting amazing accuracy considering that, all right? So that's how you would get that. It knows contextually, and this is how speech recognition works. It's not word recognition, it's speech recognition. Now, phonemes are the key ingredient of today's speech recognition. How many here know what a phoneme is? A couple people? Okay. Phonemes are like atoms in chemistry. We all know what an atom is, at least conceptually, all right? And if we put two or more phonemes together, we get a morpheme. And a morpheme is like a molecule. Another way to put it is the phoneme is the smallest meaningless particle of speech. A morpheme is the smallest meaningful particle of speech. All right? This is how speech recognition works. When I spoke to it, when I trained it, it listened to the way I spoke. And it gathers information about the way I say things. Now, you think, well, okay, but English is just English, right? Well, okay, what about, now I grew up in Wisconsin. I mentioned earlier I'm from New Orleans now. We moved down to New Orleans about 6 years ago, but I grew up just up the lake in Racine. And so I have this plain vanilla non-accent, okay? I don't have the Dennis France Chicago thing going on. You know, I don't have the Yooper thing going on either, you know? So, all right? So, and I don't have the Southern Cajun thing going on, all right? But all these people can speak with iListen and get good results. That's because of the training that happens. All right, so when I say these different phonemes, I'll give you an example. Let's say that I'm going to say, I'm going out and about tonight. Plain vanilla sentence, I'm going out and about tonight. Right? If I were to say, if I were from Canada, I might say, I'm going out and about. Maybe I exaggerate a little bit, but get the idea, right?
Yeah, right.
Or if I'm from out in the hills of Tennessee somewhere, I might say, I'm going out and about. It's all English. You all understood exactly what I said all three times, but to the software, I said three distinctly separate things. Those are phonemes. Okay, that OU sound. right? So when you're training it, it learns the way you speak. Now, it knows 300,000 words. All right, that's how many words iListen already knows. And when it puts those words together, there are rules for how those words go together. It's not going to put together a bunch of adverbs all in one string or a bunch of nouns all in one string if there's no commas. It knows how to put words together, and it knows somewhat what makes sense. That's why if I say, Dear John, colon, it's going to get D-E-A-R with a capital D on it. And if I say, I froze like a deer in headlights, it's going to get D-E-E-R with a smaller case D, because of the context it's in. And that's why it was able to get third period dot, because of the context that was provided. It knew that period was a sentence. Now, for the English teachers in the audience, paragraph is a lot harder. It's very, very heavily weighted towards the word paragraph to start a new paragraph. We have a programmer at Apple that's used the software since we came out with it. And he's used the same profile all these 6 years. He said it took him about 3 months of continually correcting the word paragraph to actually type out the word. But then he consistently uses new paragraph when he wants to start a new paragraph. And that's, once he got it differentiated that way, it was a piece of cake. But, you know, I always get that question about paragraph, and I'll tell you right now, it's a bear to get it to understand it, but it will eventually. It just takes time.